Elden Ring is finally here and looks beautiful on both the Xbox Series X and S in stunning 4K on the former and 60 FPS on both, with adrenaline-spiking performance mode on the Series S. But as a prospective player, you may be wondering how exactly to get the best start you can in the game in its opening area, West Limgrave. Featuring everything from towering hills to murky woods, gloomy caves, and all sorts of other nooks and crannies, West Limgrave provides you with plenty of room for exploration right from the get-go. Here's our guide on how to navigate the area best early in the game to get the best equipment and items first. We won't be going into deep spoiler territory here, but for those of you who want to go in completely cold, it might be a good idea to check out now.
Let's begin just after the character creation screen. Firstly, you start in an area called the Chapel of Anticipation, where you'll need to loot a tarnished, wizened finger to get out. After you head out here and across the bridge, your first proper boss battle begins against the Grafted Scion. Remember to use B to roll and LB to raise your shield if you have one, but don't worry if you die here, you're meant to. If you like a challenge though, it is beatable, earning you a great shield and a pair of straight swords which you'll be able to use in the future. You kinda have to die here though, so you may as well just let it happen. Then you'll encounter the Cave of Knowledge, which is an optional tutorial section ideal for newcomers or those who want to freshen up their skills. You can drop down into this area next to the Ghost, taking a teeny bit of damage in the process, but subsequently you'll learn how to heal, attack, stealth attack, and more. It's a good tutorial for completely new Souls players, rounded off nicely with a pretty easy boss in Soldier of Godric, and a new gesture as a reward. But if you want to bypass it completely, then skip the hole and go straight up the stairs.
Okay, something relatively new that you'll learn in these areas that is worth bringing up now. The difference between Sites of Grace and Stakes of Marika, and why you'll be delighted to encounter either of them. Sites of Grace act as your classic Dark Souls bonfire, where you can replenish health and your flasks, have a rest and save progress. Stakes of Marika, however, don't let you fill up on anything, but they do act as a checkpoint. They're automatically triggered when going past one. Then, when you die, you can choose to respawn back at your last Site of Grace, or your last Stake of Marika. Not bad, eh? You'll be able to tell when there's a stake nearby when you see this icon underneath the stamina bar. Regardless of that, you'll end up going up those same stairs and up an elevator. Now, before the doors to the Great Outdoors, you'll see an imp statue, which leads to a challenge that could be of great interest to you, depending on what keepsake you chose at the beginning, that is. You can only unlock this section if you chose Stone Sword keys at the very start of the game, which are keys that can unlock rare shortcuts or new areas like this one named Fringe Folk Hero's Grave. This one's filled with poison and ultra hard enemies, but also some great loot. You'll lose that key once you open it though, so choose carefully. Go through those big doors though, and then you are in West Limgrave. Welcome.
Apart from admiring how absolutely gorgeous the Erd Tree looks in glorious 4K if you're playing on the Xbox Series X, the first thing we advise doing once you enter West Limgrave is to head to the Gatefront Ruins. Now, without the map being filled in, this can be hard to locate. But don't worry, we've got your back. It can be found north of where you start, following the road through the trees. In fact, a tower icon will appear on the map, which is where we're headed. So set your waypoint there and look out for a big blue beam in the sky. Just outside where you start though, you may encounter an optional boss known as the Tree Sentinel, a huge soldier atop a huge horse. Your best bet here is to creep by them and not engage. If you're spotted, then run away until they lose interest and retreat. Generally, your weapons won't be strong enough yet without leveling them up. But if you fancy getting stuck in, try to use ranged and magic as much as possible. We recommend you leg it northeast in the meantime though, and onto the road to Gatefront Ruins. There will be some soldiers on the way, sure, but you're a pro by now. Or if not, sneak on by. Just be careful not to be seen by any soldier holding a trumpet, as they can also call in the cavalry. Also, remember if you sneak up behind an enemy and tap RB, you'll unleash a critical attack like a backstab in other Souls games that often takes these guys out in one.
Anyway, head to Gatefront. You'll want to rest at the Site of Grace here, not just for a well-earned chill, but because it triggers the arrival of Melina. She may well appear at other Sites of Grace too, but we know for sure that this is one of them. She offers you help if you escort her to the big Erd Tree. you should definitely say yes please, because then she'll actually not only give you the ability to level up using runes at the Sites of Grace, which is pretty essential to moving forward, but also a spectral steed whistle. It's with this whistle that you can summon Torrent, the fastest horse-like spirit in the West, Limgrave. Torrent is exceptionally helpful in that with it you can double jump great distances, generally move faster, and engage in mounted combat, which is pretty fun. Be warned though, Torrent can perish, and it takes a rest or some Crimson Tears flasks to get him up and running again. He also looks great stampeding along in 60 FPS on Series X and Series S performance mode, just saying.
Next, gallivant on back down the road you came from with your new steed and to the Church of Elleh, where you'll meet a merchant who is seemingly dressed as Santa named Charleyy and a Site of Grace. At this point though, Charleyy will be unconscious, and a strange figure will be sat on the wall. She's a witch, and her name is Renna. Don't attack her though, as she's also going to give you something special. If you tell her you have the ability to summon Torrent, she will give you an item called a Spirit Calling Bell, as well as some Lone Wolf Ashes. Now these are part of another new feature that is new to Elden Ring, Spirit Summons. If you're in range of a Rebirth monument, you can use the bell in combat to summon some NPCs to help you out. In this case, some wolves. Eventually, Charleyy will come back around and you can speak to him about buying a crafting kit using your runes. This is a pretty important item to have, so if you don't have enough runes yet, seek out some of the weaker enemies to the southeast to gather them, or look west of the church for a crucified human being with a white light attached for a fringe folk's rune for some more precious pocket runes. The church also has a smithing table and a smithing stone shard, which will come in handy for upgrading weapons later.
Great, so now you should be in a better enough position to fast travel back to the Site of Grace at Gatefront Ruins and pick up a map fragment. Now, you may have noticed so far in your journey that the map hasn't been as detailed as it perhaps could be, but for each area, once you pick one of these fragments up, a lot more will be illuminated for you. To the east of the Site of Grace, you'll find that garrison of soldiers that you may have previously tried to avoid, but now with Torrent and your wolf friends, you can bring the fight to them a little bit easier. Luckily, as you'll notice by the monument icon appearing on the left of the HUD, you're within range of a rebirth monument, which means you can unleash your pack upon them for a helping hand. Once you've cleared this place, you'll be able to pick up a number of items, including the whetstone knife and a couple of weapons, but to the east of this location, under a big guide stele, you'll find the West Limgrave map fragment. This will give you tons more information about the world around you to help you navigate on your adventure.
Since it's nearby, we have one other location we recommend visiting, which is entirely optional, Stormgate. This can be found just west of the Gatefront Ruins and mostly consists of a massive ambush by a troll warrior, a very tough enemy, and a group of soldiers. If you're able to cut them down, or you're able to avoid them, climb the cliffs south of the road and get to the upper level. There you'll find a treasure chest which contains the Arrow's Reach talisman, which is able to improve your range with bows and crossbows by a Hawkeye level 65%. Similarly, should you get through the gate, you'll be able to find a golden seed, which allows you an additional use of one of your sacred flasks. Pretty neat and pretty essential, both of these items can help greatly in your rematch against the Tree Sentinel for that sweet golden halberd of theirs, and all the many clashes beyond.
So, there you have it, a guide to getting the very best start to West Limgrave ahead of your adventure. You're welcome. Do you want more guides on how to progress in Elden Ring? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned to Xbox On for more in the way of the latest titles on Xbox. Bye!